Good afternoon, everyone. And you're joining me on this sunny September Monday afternoon. Doesn't feel like morning. I was going to say morning. Here on Facebook, where we are live for our spotlight session. I absolutely adore these sessions because I get to speak to some fantastic clients, and Kerry is probably one of the most energetic and engaging ones I work with. So no pressure, Kerry, but I promise people a lot of energy. So I'm going to let Kerry do a full introduction of herself, but just so I can put my own spin on it. Kerry has got one of my favorite taglines in business. She is the founder of The Imperfect Life, and she helps people's daydreams become their day jobs. And I just love everything Kerry stands for. I was in that place. I've been interviewed on her podcast all about making that a reality for me too. And I know how difficult it can be, but in Kerry's hands, she makes the whole thing a joyous experience. Kerry, do you want to just talk a little bit about you, your business, and what that actually means on a practical level to make your daydream a day job, and who it is you work with?
Yes, and yeah, hopefully not setting up too much of a I kind of setting myself up for a fall. Be like, Kerry's so energetic, and I'm trying to restrain myself from doing jumping jacks.
Don't worry about that. I'm just
yeah. Oh yeah, there's a bit of feedback there from yours. But yes, I am Kerry Lyons. That's my name. Mind and business coach is my job, and I essentially help service-based business owners really kind of manage that tricky transition of the employee to entrepreneur experience. So when I say it's service-based business owners, so it's predominantly coaches, consultants, service-based creatives who are basically called to do the work that is helping people in some way, helping people change their lives, helping people change their health, helping people change their homes, helping people change their businesses, whatever. I help people get their ducks in a row. I help them go from like literally no business in existence to actually like building a community, creating an offer to sell, building that into something that is a tangible, real thing that makes money. And then that's kind of what I do in my signature program, which is the Imperfect Life Leaders. That's like a group coaching experience more than anything else. And then with my one-to-one clients, it's a little bit more elevated. So you would necessarily not be like at day dot. You would have some sales in your business, but I help service-based business owners kind of go to that next level of their business. And we do a lot more deeper work in terms of subconscious work. I am a NLP practitioner. I am a timeline therapy practitioner. I am a hypnosis practitioner. So that kind of stuff really comes into my one-to-one work a lot more than my group experience. So as often has been the case, some members of the Imperfect Life Leaders have kind of come through to do one-to-one work with me then to kind of accelerate the results. So it's kind of just changing lives, baby. That's what I do.
Yeah, and you do. And I had no idea you were like hypnosis trained. And what's the timeline therapy?
Timeline therapy practitioner, yeah.
Like, tell me more. What is that?
Oh, it's so powerful. It's basically, it removes negative emotions from our past. So before we can do, or taking a step back from it, whatever you're not moving through in your business, whatever is potentially holding you back in your business, if you have the strategy, which a lot of people do, like they know what they need to do, they're just not actually implementing it and doing it, it's because there's some subconscious reason that they are not wanting to do it. So it may be that there's this kind of core belief system. It may be that there is some trauma, that it may be that there's some subconscious reason that feels like a dangerous thing to do. And timeline therapy combined with like NLP work is basically how we then clear those negative emotions from the past without having to be like too immersed in any previous trauma. And sometimes it can be in our subconscious mind, can even be like past life stuff. It doesn't have to be from our own recollection or memory either, but it clears it so we can then start to kind of rebuild a more helpful belief system, right? That actually allows us to believe I'm capable, I am this person, I have the identity of a business owner, I'm not an employee anymore, and actually start to put those real foundational building blocks in place to do what you want to do, get what you want to get, be who you want to be, and all of that stuff. But it's such fulfilling work.
Yeah, I mean, the concept you're talking about, we talk about it quite a lot in terms of like, it is about getting your mind in the right place to be able to take the action. And what I do is very practical based, but it doesn't necessarily come, double negatives. You still need to work on the mindset side of things to be able to grow into the leader you need to be in order to make the changes you want. So it's fascinating that I hadn't heard of that as a therapy. So amazing that you're trained in that too. But let's talk about your leadership growth, Kerry, over the last, I don't know, let's go for the last like 12 months or even maybe since the pandemic. When did you find, because I know you were kind of doing this like freelance role, and you were doing like your graphics and your branding stuff, and you pivoted your business. Like, how have you had to evolve and grow as a leader over the past year or so?
So freaking much. So much, because, and as well, I think I had the double whammy disadvantage of coming from the agency world, where everything is like hourly rate, billable hours, kind of having to, it is a case of time for money in the industry that I've been in. So to then go to a kind of value-based business where it's actually like, it's not about the tangibles of I've spent 5 hours on a website design, therefore this is what it costs. It's been such an adjustment to move away from having an hourly value on myself to switching out into, this isn't about, it's almost like my hourly rate had to at least 10x over the course of like a month, basically. And from that kind of shift in, well, it was a process of adjusting to that shift. But through that process then realizing, if my business wants to make this amount of revenue and I need to be essentially charging this much an hour, I can't be doing like tinkering around with scheduling a blog post. I can't be faffing about with my planner's gone missing emails. Like, it's like these kind of things where I was so invested in everything because it was all mine, to then being like, this is so counterproductive. And it was then this realization of how much I was the limitation. You know, my business was like almost wanting to grow and be bigger, but I was going, no, I can't fit that like that. You know, I was like squashing it down by this insistence that it almost had to follow this agency model that I've just been raised on, you know.
Just got this image in my mind of like a suitcase, you know, when you're like, you will fit in the bag, and you're like sitting on it and you're squidging and you're trying to get your clothes in. That's just what came to mind when you were like, stay small, like I will get this stuff done. If I can't do it myself, it's not going to get done.
Yeah, purple in the face.
So clearly that had, you know, its own challenges from a time perspective, but because you've mentioned as well around like you're, you know, very open to and working with clients on mindset side of things. So what was kind of going through your mind at that point of why you were keeping yourself small? Because this is something I hear and have felt time and time again at every level.
Yeah, I mean, it's through my own work. So it's a bit kind of, I know for some people it feels a bit pyramid schemey, that like if you're a coach, you kind of need a coach, and that coach needs a coach. And it's like, it's almost like you can't, in my mind, I don't feel I can help people or encourage people to go deeper than I've been prepared to go myself. So I consciously push myself through my own blocks to then know kind of what's required to unlock that in my clients. And with this, it was like a case in point of like, there is some work, there is something I know is holding me back. That's not a surface level thing. It's not something that's like, I don't know how to do it. And a big piece that you've helped me work through, Sky, is a big part of identifying like what that is, like what is stopping me from actually really allowing people to come into my business and take some level of control. And why am I grabbing onto it so tightly? And why is this taking me so freaking long? Because I mean, I started to get some level of help over 2 years ago in terms of like a VA and someone helping me with a bit of copy here and there. And it's only been in the last year where I've gone, I need more than this. Like this, I'm still the massive doer in my business. And there was this real, it was a fear of having to address confrontation was a big part of it, from some confrontational challenges I've had in my like childhood, and feeling like if I let someone in, I'm going to have to let them down in some way, because it's almost like I was refusing. I knew I was going to refuse to let people in, and therefore they wouldn't be allowed to succeed, and therefore I would always have to let people go, So that was a big part of it for me. And also the challenge of perfectionism feels a bit too like cliche to say. I've definitely had my perfectionist challenges over the years, and my whole business is based on the imperfect life and fighting everything that my instinct wants me to do in terms of trying to be perfect. But I think there was definitely a big part of feeling like I wouldn't be able to have someone or have anyone come into the business that was going to be able to deliver on what I wanted, like at the standard I wanted. But I think what has really helped me in the work that we've done together is one, for like that's not the issue really. It's not about having someone be perfect. It's about giving someone the space and the autonomy to actually own that part of our role and that part of the business that they are free to make mistakes with, but also be held accountable to, and because things go wrong in business all the time. Like links go broken and spelling mistakes happen and things that we launch don't quite go to plan. Like there's all sorts of things that happen that don't go perfectly. I'm sorry about the bunny quotes. That's the second time I've done those now. I'm going to keep my fingers down, like glued to the table.
I'm sat on my hands right now so that I can, because I'm always like this. Don't worry about it. Join in.
Gesticulating. This actually helps me gesticulate or minimize my gesticulating because there's a big giant microphone here. But yes, where was I? I was talking about the releasing the kind of perfection. But yeah, realizing that was something that the standard I think that I had in my mind of what it needs to be, it just wasn't. Like it didn't need to be that. But equally allowing myself to let someone have a go. I can't know unless they have a go. Otherwise I was just in this space of no one can have a go, but I really need help, but no one can have a go, and therefore nothing ever changes.
And also the difference of like having a go but setting them up for success. So knowing
setting up for success, exactly, yes,
things are in place to give them the best possible chance of making this work, rather than I see business owners go, no one can do this, it's all mine, and then they bring someone in and they go, okay, do this, quick, do this. Oh, they failed. Yes. I knew that wouldn't work. I have been through 3 VAs. I knew it wouldn't work. And it's like, no, hello, let's look at this. It's not the VA, it's the common denominator is you. And
that is so true.
And I'm not meaning this as you, Kerry, it was this is the general feel I get. And it's about what do we do to set these people up to be able to do a good job, so that we have our best possible chance of bringing the right person in, doing the right thing at the right time, rather than just winging a prayer, hope we're lucky this time. We may get lucky.
I hope they can just ice skate from the word go and actually teach them how to ice skate. Yeah.
So, okay, you're in this place then, you're doing all the doing, you're not enjoying it so much, you haven't got any more time, you're recognizing your business could grow, there's lots of potential, it's saying, come on, Kerry, come on, you can do this. You're feeling nervous, but you also know like you've got to tackle it. What was the kind of trigger or was there a catalyst that made you think, like, I'm gonna do something different now?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. One is that a mentor shared with me, because I think a big thing that comes up for my own clients as well when I speak about getting some help in their business is this like, but I can't afford to get help in my business. And the amount of times that I've said that, I'm a little embarrassed by, but let's just speak realities of truths of what's happened.
That would be me too, so don't worry.
Yeah. I think, in fact, if you're not saying it, you're not doing it right. But anyway, one of my mentors shared with me that if you aren't making enough money to hire people, it's because you haven't hired people. And I was like, oh, that really landed with me because when I really looked at what I was spending my time on, it was rarely actually making money. It was all this like faffing, hiding, not revenue generating stuff in the background. Or if there was any revenue generating stuff, it was so like minimal and like a squeak, because then I just got wrapped up in being so busy and everything else again. It was never with the level of consistency that would have an impact. So that was one thing, is actually realizing, because I wasn't hiring was why I wasn't able to hire. I didn't feel able to hire. And the second was making a really big investment in myself in terms of my own support, in terms of my own coach, and having a massive identity shift as part of that, that just elevated me to a different type of business owner that had to make different types of decisions than I had done. So it was almost like the kind of almost like the gut instinct that came up of, you know, this is an ad campaign I'm doing. What is the budget? This was what I would like. Can I do like £10 a day kind of decisions? Like, no, this needs to be this a day. This needs to be this a day. Through to, how am I spending my time? I actually need to get help with this. And I just started making up-level decisions at every touch point, you know, and it was just realizing the business owner that I want to be in like 12 months time, what is the decision that she would make now? And I need to make that now, if that has any chance of becoming real. So it was just starting to really embody the choices and the decisions and the thinking process and the, I guess, the boldness, the ballsiness and the bravery of someone who had got to where I wanted to be, and start bringing that into the today, and not really focusing on what might go wrong and what if, and just really pouring my attention into what I wanted, you know.
Yeah, it really reminds me, you telling me that, of I've just listened to the audiobook of Rachel Rodgers, We Should All Be Millionaires, and she talks about making $1 million decisions. I know you've read that book as well.
Yeah.
Or I've seen you share posts about it, so I'm assuming you've read the book.
Great book.
Yeah, amazing book. And she talks about embodying those $1 million decisions that you would make, and about expansion rather than cost cutting. It's about, how do you, if you want to afford that £500 a month, VA, PA, EA, whatever it might be, how do you then up level your business to be able to afford that? And that's definitely the mindset. I'm looking at building an office on the farm, and that's definitely the mindset I've got around, okay, well, this isn't exactly, I can work from home right now, but in 6 months, a year's time, where I plan to be is not from my home office. I want to be able to have a space that I can invite clients and my team into. So what decisions do I need to make today based on knowing where I want to be in a year's time? And even if it feels like scary, offloading like tens of thousands of pounds, knowing that it's for the right decisions. Okay, so there's the whole thing about embracing the leader you want to be. Of course, our experience working together, like, I'm really privileged to have been able to see your business kind of transition over the last, I don't know, it must be at least 12 months now, maybe less.
I think it was autumn last year when I first joined Time to Lead. Yeah.
So you came into Time to Lead, and then we've then progressed, because as your business progressed, you were looking for your right-hand persons. You've come into the Growth Accelerator, which is all about that. And we've been doing some inner leadership work more recently. Within Time to Lead then, so you were at the stage where you needed to up level, you started dipping your toe, you already had a bit of help. What was it that drew you to Time to Lead and working with me?
I think I had bought one of your tripwires. Yeah,
£27 still available if anyone is listening to this and still wants it.
And do you know what? I didn't even touch it. This is how marketing works, right? I downloaded that, didn't touch it. Then there was an email sequence that followed that. Maybe like 6 or 8 weeks later, there was like, get a time audit with Sky. And I was like, that's what I need, a time audit. Like, my time is all over the place. This is what I need, right? Which then we had this conversation, and you're like, cool, I think you'd be a good fit for this. Let's go here. And I was like, perfect. Here's my money. Fix it, please. But even through that process, if I'm really honest, because of where my mindset was at with it, I knew what needed to happen, but I wasn't ready to apply it. You know, there was stuff I was still working through that wasn't kind of in evoking those or invoking those embodiment choices that I was speaking about. Yeah. So it really was, I think, I had 3 people in place, but they were all doing very minor task-driven things. So I was still doing a lot of the doing, and they were just like, can you do this? Can you do this? Kind of, I was like the manager type person. Yeah. And then as the months went on, and I was like getting, I was like, the one thing I was committing to, I was like, I'm going to go to those weekly calls. I'm going to show up to those weekly calls. That's what I'm going to be there for. And then showed up to those. And then there was the opportunity to go and work more deeply with you as we come into like late spring and early summer of this year. And it was like, I really need more focused kind of, what's the phrase that doesn't sound disgusting? I literally went to kind of say the most like not good language. Shall I say that? Not good language. But I needed my ass whooped, right? And not in a sense of I wanted you to do it for me, but just that sense of like, I needed that level of investment to be more skin in the game for me to go, I'm taking this seriously now. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, it felt like I was getting myself the hook with this little plaster version when I knew I needed more to help me take the action. And then through that more deeper work where it's like, I actually want to create roles here. I want to create a team who are rowing together and working together. It was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And then, yes, it's all kind of grown from there, really.
So tell me where you're at now. Tell me how business is at. What's your team like? What are the differences between you and that pre or just started hiring phase where you just throw tasks at people and they just did their tasks and kept coming back to you for what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say I'm still a work in progress. There are still things I am doing that I know I shouldn't be doing. But because I feel I'm in the process of really onboarding 2 key members. One is a digital marketer and another is community manager and online business manager. And I'm happy with how they're like, that's developing and that's going, but I know there's more I need to offload. Sounds a bit like mechanical, but there's that going. But there's definitely there's a key role. We have team meetings every Monday, and last week there was a space in my calendar and my ABM was like, blocking this out, this is CEO time, take that, and was just like cleared out the diary kind of thing. And I was like, someone's told me to stop for a minute and actually take, because I just have zero space, zero creative time. And now I've got someone to almost manage me, you know, and I kind of feel like I need that. It's not like you don't want a boss, but having someone to kind of like pull you in line a bit and be like, actually, this needs to get this again, and you actually need to create some space here for this. And I'm going to tell you that that's what you need to do. And you go, okay, thanks, Mum. Yeah, that's kind of what I need.
In the leader class courses, we've been talking about how that like caring side comes out and how you want to make sure everyone else is all right and we put ourselves last. Well, sometimes if that is a challenge for you, boundaries is an issue, often an issue. Not always, but often an issue. And if that is the case, you need someone else to help you reinforce those boundaries of, I'm committing to a Friday is a CEO day or a creative day or whatever you want to call it, or this pockets of time I'm going to put aside for me. And if that feels uncomfortable, sometimes having someone else do it for you can help. Just the same as like getting someone else to manage certain things on your inbox could be great, and making sure that someone else does like any of the chat, sometimes the challenging conversations can be great. But where I've seen, Kerry, you've gone from having this business where it was like you, but it was you, and your thinking was you. And from that, although you weren't just in the solopreneur space, like you had already outsourced things, you have gone, in my view, from that person who was like carrying all the weight on their shoulders to someone who, yes, not like off, you know, you sit back and you're on a beach and doing nothing. Clearly there's things to do, but I feel so confident in your path now and how you see the future and the way in which you've defined your role, how you want it to be. Yes, you're not fully there yet, but it does take time. And what I always say is the stuff I teach is not silver bullet solution. It's not like, oh, here you go, drop this and then that's life.
Yeah, plug and play.
It takes time. It does take time. And there's a space for you to be that doer and testing things out and trying stuff out. And now there's a space for you to lead, and you are massively like opening your arms to embracing leadership and your style and wanting the best for your team and really thinking of it as a unit and your community as both the audience, as in your audience community, but also your community from a team perspective as well. And how do you be great leaders to both? And I've seen you fully embrace trying things, being really vulnerable, sharing what's going well, and at times learning from the things that don't always work, as we all do. And that's why I've loved working with you, because you just have this like I think similar to me in terms of like heart and sleeve, just say it as it is, very transparent. And I can see why you connect so deeply with your audience as well for that reason, and why you'd be brilliant to work for. Where do you see the business going from here then?
Well, I mean, I still feel like a new business. That's a bizarre thing, because I know that there are people that are looking to me and what I created as like, how do I create that? And I'm not saying that from a place of conceitedness or anything, but like that's what people say, like, how do I do what you've done?
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like I already
doing very well. You're a very successful multi-six-figure business owner. Like,
yeah, but I kind of still feel like it's new. I still feel like I'm in the toddler phase. I feel like I feel there's like so much potential ahead, and I'm so excited about what's ahead. It feels like really spacious and expansive, and I feel really supported. But equally, it's like this could go anywhere. I don't feel like I'm like the 5-year plan is down. There's definitely things that I want to do, like in-person stuff. I'd love to do some in-person events, full on Brittany Mike, Janet Jackson routine, you know, all the whole.
If you need a backing dancer.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do some that now that kind of the world is opening up again. But yeah, I kind of feel that there's something new that is emerging as well, which we've kind of spoke about on Voxer or on our call last week. But yeah, I feel like something new is emerging, and I haven't quite put my finger on what it is yet, but just really excited to see what's next. And I just feel really really grateful, really excited, and supported. I think it's a just really nice feeling to have, is that I feel like it's not all on me, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thrilled about that. So Kerry, if you could just share a piece of advice to a business owner watching this, thinking like, oh, but I'm not in Kerry's position, I'm not a multi-six-figure yet. I'm doing well, I don't really have much time, but I can't really afford to get help. I can't really afford to, systems and foundation stuff, like that can wait. What might you say in terms of advice to people at that stage who might be on the fence to say coming into Time to Lead or working with me?
I would say you're lying to yourself. Basically, if you are saying that to yourself, it's come from a place of love, it's come from a place of self-preservation, it's come from a place of wanting to protect yourself and stay small, stay where you are, and not grow. But if in your heart of hearts you have a business that does not require you to be in it 7 days a week, evenings and weekends, and you actually enjoy what you're doing, and you want to give a quality service and deliver a quality service to your clients, then it has to happen. Like, you can't be all things to all people on all levels at a level of quality. It's just not realistic. So I totally connect with like I said, I can't afford it, so therefore I'm in this catch-22. Until my business does this, I can't afford to do this. But it comes from the embodiment piece that I was talking about, really thinking about the business that you want to create, the kind of decisions that you need to make, and it has to start somewhere. Even if it's like a couple of hours a week, there is someone who is helping you like manage emails, for example, or someone who is helping you schedule content, or there is someone who's helping you with any kind of tasks that you find annoying. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting someone to help me decide what I'm going to do on what day. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I don't even want to think about what I'm doing today. Can you just tell me what I need to do today, and I'll do it.
I don't kind of decide what I'm going to eat, so someone helping me
exactly.
So even prep and everything.
Yeah, or even like cleaning, right? Having someone at home that is like cleaning your house or your apartment or whatever. Like, stop feeling like it's all on. The longer you stay thinking like, I have to do all this myself and therefore it's impossible, the more you're going to stay in your problem. So it's about connecting with that future version of yourself, connecting with that future business that you want, and start making some of the decisions that that future self is going to make on a scale that you feel is kind of, I like to go like the 4 out of 5 on the impossibility scale. So it's just nudging you into like, oh, this feels uncomfortable, but it's not like, I've hired 4 people in a week and I've got nothing to pay them with, you know.
completely agree. I'm always about like sustainable business. It's about having a little bit of stretch, but ultimately like it can't burn you out, and you are the business. So you have to look after yourself, and you can't put so much pressure that it always combusts at the end of the week. It's got to be sustainable. So yeah, that's really great advice. Thank you. Kerry, I've adored talking to you today. And if people are watching this thinking that they want to continue listening to your amazing podcast show, your gorgeous Instagram, I would love you to share the handle or tell us the handles can find you, because Kerry's one of my favorite people to follow on stories.
Oh, thanks.
Want to see us singing, dancing, doing little fun things.
There's like body popping. It's all going down there.
Yeah, it's great. Where can people connect and find you?
I mainly live on Instagram. So at Kerry Lyons Co is my Instagram handle. I also host a podcast called The Imperfect Life Podcast, which has I've just literally recorded yesterday, episode 100. We've just had kind of our 25,000 download celebration as well. So really proud of that. And yeah, they're the main two places really. Listen on the podcast, come and say hi on Instagram, drop me a little DM to say this is how you found out about me. So I'd love to make that connection with you. And let's get to making some daydreams, some day jobs, basically.
So agree. Come and see you, come and get maxed out, and then come and see me, and we'll create time. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing that you do. And I wish I'd known about you sooner when I was doing that whole, I suppose you weren't quite started at that point, but I needed someone like you. And I did the whole 3 years between deciding this was going to be my day job and I was currently stuck in corporate. So I'd probably have made that transition far quicker had you been around at the time.
Yeah.
I just want to thank anyone who's watched this live with us. I'm sorry I haven't looked at your comments. I find the whole tech thing with Facebook very distracting. Maybe it's the dyslexic brain in me. Anyone watching this on replay, do let us know that you've watched. I'd love to hear your comments and what you've taken away from this session. Kerry, appreciate your honesty as always. Thank you for inspiring people to realize that they can embody the future leader that they want to be, and it's never too early to start. We'll make sure you've got the handles here so people can come follow you, and thank you so much. I will see you on our call later this week.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Sky. You're amazing.
Bye.